Today we're heading straight into the squared circle.
Yeah, could be a good one.
We're gonna dissect the World Tag Team Championship match between the War Raiders and the New Day. This was from WrestleMania 41, Night 1, April 19th, 2025.
Right. And, whether you're someone who follows wrestling super closely, like knows every single move, or maybe you just catch the big events sometimes, we're really aiming to give you let's say, a richer picture of this specific match.
Yeah, kind of go beyond just who won or lost, right? Look at what was really going on.
Exactly. More than just the suplexes and pinfalls. We want to understand what made this whole thing, well, tick.
Okay, so let's jump right into the setup then, the backstory. Because this match, it didn't come out of nowhere.
Not at all.
The New Day, they had gone through a pretty major shift, hadn't they, leading up to Mania.
Oh, yeah. The heel turn, they were the bad guys now, which was quite a change for them.
And their attitude, especially towards Big E, their former partner who was out injured, that was, well, noticeable.
It really was. And the commentary team, they jumped on that immediately. I think Wade Barrett said something like, this could be the start of a frightening new day.
Yeah, I remember that. Sets a tone, doesn't it?
It really does. And it wasn't just talk either. They showed that video package before the match. And it really hammered home this, darker side they were showing. And you could hear the crowd reacting negatively, too. People weren't used to this new day.
Totally. A huge departure from the, pancakes and positivity.
Right. And this new edge, this aggression, it directly fueled the feud with the War Raiders. It got personal.
Especially with the accusations about Erik's neck, right?
Exactly. The War Raiders were saying the New Day were deliberately targeting Erik's surgically repaired neck. That adds a whole different layer, much nastier than just wanting the titles.
Definitely ups the stakes.
And then you layer on top of that, the New Day demanding the match, basically declaring themselves the greatest tag team ever.
Big claim.
Huge claim. Especially against the War Raiders, who were the dominant champs at the time. So it became this clash of legacy versus dominance, all centered around those World Tag Team titles.
And for the New Day, it was more than just a title match. They were chasing history, weren't they?
They were. Gunning for a record-breaking 12th tag team title reign, which is, incredible.
But the commentary also brought up their individual WrestleMania records. Woods and Kofi didn't exactly have winning records on the biggest stage.
No, Woods was 0-6. Kofi, I think, 2-3 going in, something like that. So you wonder, did that add a sense of, desperation?
That's a good question. Did that pressure maybe push them towards, the tactics we saw later?
It could have. Feeling that weight, needing that Mania win, maybe makes you bend the rules a bit more. Adds another wrinkle to their motivation anyway.
Okay, let's shift to the entrances. Because WrestleMania is all about the spectacle, right?
Absolutely. The entrances are huge.
And the New Day, their entrance attire was something else.
Yeah.
Very deliberate.
Yeah, that giant Gonzalez tribute.
Right.
From WrestleMania 9, also in Vegas.
Yeah.
The airbrush muscles, everything. It was certainly a choice.
A deep cut for wrestling fans.
For sure. And Barrett pointed out another detail on their jackets, that three-headed unicorn logo.
Yeah.
One of the heads looked kind of withered, decayed almost, symbolizing Big E being out. A visual representation of their change and his absence.
Wow, that's quite layered. And they even got into it a bit with George Kittle at ringside.
Yeah, just a brief argument, added a bit of spontaneous heat,
And then you clip to the War Raiders. Totally different vibe.
Completely. They came out dressed as Clash of Clans characters. Erik as the Barbarian King, Ivar as Pekka.
Which Pat McAfee seemed very excited about explaining on commentary.
He did. He went into all the details about the game, the characters.
Yeah.
It really highlighted the contrast, didn't it? New Day referencing wrestling history, War Raiders referencing, a mobile game.
It's kind of funny, given the New Day's whole up-to-up, down-down gaming channel thing.
Right. You might have expected them to do a gaming entrance. But yeah, these contrasting presentations really set the stage, I think. Showed two teams in very different headspaces.
Okay, so entrance is done, bell rings,
Yeah.
and bam, instant action.
Yeah, no feeling out process. New Day just ambushed Erik right away.
Set the tone immediately, like you said, maybe that desperation kicking in.
Could be. Or just wanting to seize control against powerful opponents. But yeah, it was aggressive from second one.
And the intensity just kept going. Erik using Kofi as a weapon against Wood.
Yeah, like a battering ram.
Yeah.
And then that body slam, Erik slamming Ivar onto both New Day guys on the floor. That was a big impact moment.
And Ivar flying into the LED board with that crossbody. These guys were leaving it all out there.
Definitely. The reports really emphasized the nonstop pace. You had the War Raiders hitting that assisted flying sledge, and Woods cutting off Erik's suicide dive, Kofi doing that crazy senton bomb onto the ring apron.
Oh, just ow.
Yeah, it was physical.
Ugh.
Both teams just absorbing and dishing out punishment. You could see this is a championship fight.
And like we mentioned before, as it went on, you saw New Day zeroing in on Erik's neck.
Tying right back into that pre-match story. They weren't just throwing moves. There was a strategy there, a mean streak maybe.
But even with that, Ivar was just incredible.
A beast. For his size, the stuff he does, the running crossbody splash, that leaping seated senton, the handspring double back elbow.
The handspring always gets me. How does he do that?
Right. And he almost hit a tiger driver. You just don't see that from guys built like him. Shows his incredible athleticism. These moments really kept the energy up.
Totally. And so many moments where you thought, okay, this is it. Near falls galore. Woods hitting the honor roll.
Always get the pop.
Then Kofi lands Trouble in Paradise on Erik. Looked like it might be over.
But then Ivar comes flying in with a spinning heel kick, and then the moonsault. The doom salt.
Though commentary mentioned he almost slipped on that, right? Added a bit of realism, maybe?
Yeah, a little wobble. A reminder that these high-risk moves are actually, well, high risk.
And Woods kept breaking up pins with the limit break, elbow drop, just constant back and forth, neither team staying down.
The resilience was key. That forearm exchange late in the match, too. Just slugging it out. Pure exhaustion and will.
Then Erik counters the honor roll with that vicious full Nelson knee lift. Sets up the death row.
Looked like that might be the end for sure.
But it wasn't. Because the finish, well, that's what got everyone talking, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. After Kofi breaks up the Viking experience, Woods hits a big boot, then they hit their finisher, the daylight.
Up, up, down, down.
Right. But the key was, as Woods made the pin on Ivar, the replay showed Kofi clearly holding Ivar's legs down from the outside.
So he couldn't kick out. Blatant interference.
Yep. And that's how they won the titles.
Which, I mean, perfectly plays into their new characters, right?
Exactly. It's designed to get that reaction. Michael Cole called it highway robbery. Kind of summed it up. It cements them as villains. Makes you question the win.
Very effective heel tactic.
For sure. Is it the kind of win that, endears them to people? Probably not. But it gets people talking, and it fits the story they're telling now. Adds intrigue to their title reign.
And they didn't stick around to celebrate, did they?
No. Grabbed the belts and got out of there fast. Almost like they knew they'd pulled a fast one.
In a purely strategic sense, like maybe this win justifies it. Ditching Big E was the right move for them in their minds.
That's the implication, yeah. And immediately, the talk starts. Are the New Day back in the greatest of all time tag team conversation? But now there's this, cloud over it because of how they won.
An asterisk next to the win.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But, not everyone was completely blown away by the match itself, regardless of the finish.
Right, I saw some of that talk too.
And some critics felt it was, good, but maybe not WrestleMania good. More like a really strong main event for Raw, their weekly show.
Okay. Why do you think that was the take for some?
Concerns were raised that maybe the match structure was a bit basic, and that the crowd, the live audience, wasn't quite as electric as for some other matches on the card.
Maybe the focus on the heel turn story overshadowed the in-ring stuff for some people. Or maybe the finish, not being clean, left them feeling a bit flat for a Mania title change.
Could be either, or both. Dave Meltzer looked at this match.
Yes. The star ratings.
He gave it 2 3/4 stars. Called it fine, basically. Felt more like a standard TV match than a big WrestleMania epic.
Which is interesting because it felt pretty dramatic watching it unfold with all the story context.
Right. So Meltzer's rating, focusing maybe more on the pure in-ring work rate perhaps, seems a bit detached from the narrative intensity we saw. Different ways to evaluate a match, I guess.
Definitely. His focus might be different. Did it hit those high spots, the complex sequences you expect in a top-tier Mania match?
No.
Maybe he felt it didn't, even with the story.
There was also some chatter about, why this match was on WrestleMania when a big gimmick match, a TLC match for the other tag titles, happened on TV instead. Leading some to feel maybe the WWE tag titles weren't being presented as quite as big a deal. That's a perception thing, I guess. And the match length, just over 9 minutes, maybe that contributed too. Felt a bit short for an epic Mania title bout to some.
Right. Context is everything.
Yeah.
And speaking of context, WrestleMania 41 itself We heard Ariel's coverage was brought to us by Goodyear.
Yeah, celebrating their 100th anniversary, apparently. Big
Yeah.
milestone.
It's a whole spectacle.
It is, and you see the sponsors woven in, like the Clash of Clans ads with wrestlers, the Snickers ad with Jey Uso. That's part of the big event feel.
Plus, the celebrities dotted around, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Michael Che, Jelly Roll again. It shows the crossover appeal.
Yeah, definitely. Even a theme song, Timeless by The Weeknd and Playboi Carti, adds to that big show atmosphere. But, you know, do those surrounding elements really change how we view the match itself in the long run?
That's a good point. They add flavor, maybe, build the hype.
Right. They create the event feel, the grandeur. But years from now, people will remember the match, the story, the finish, more than the specific sponsor, probably. The wrestling part tends to endure.